Well, before you start a good social media campaign, it all really starts out with your website. And you're going to see this theme go through the entire presentation. One of the goals you want to create as a marketer is you want to create sustainable, searchable copy. Because what do we know about search? Yeah, well, it's where most of the people start, right? So when somebody goes to a website or goes onto the internet, what's the first thing that opens up? The Google homepage or the Yahoo homepage. And the first action they take is they go right to a search box. So one of the things you want to have, a core foundation, is really having your site and your information set for keywords and search. And we're going to walk you through that process because it's extremely important. And when we do that, though, the other thing we've had great challenges with are bounce rates. Everybody know what a bounce rate is? A bounce rate is when you click through to a website, you get there, and you immediately leave. So sometimes the consumer will come in, they'll click on a site, not feel comfortable where they're at through the search, and they'll leave. One of the things a good site will do is it will reduce bounce rates. We've done some work with organizations where they had a 60% bounce rate. We did some tweaking in the website, some repositioning of content, images, etc. The bounce rate went down to about 30%. The average bounce rate right now for a travel and tourism website is about 35%. And does anybody have Google Analytics installed, or any type of analytics? You can look through and you can see how many people went in on your bounce rate, or one and done. That would be your bounce rate. You check that percentage. And if you're 30 to 35%, you're very good. A little bit higher, you might want to think about tweaking some of the content on your site. But basically, you have about 10 seconds to capture a consumer when they come to your website. 10 total seconds. And first is an attraction phase. So somebody sees a little ad or some information, or they get to your website. They have about 3 to 5 seconds to catch that user's eye. That's the attraction stage. So the user comes in, they click on a link, they get to your site, or they do a search and they get to your site, and they have that attraction phase. So they're in there and they're kind of making a visual assessment of what's happening. You have about three seconds or so at that point. Then comes the engagement, because after they look and they see that visual attraction, is there some information where they can engage? So you have about 4 to 7 seconds, and they decide if there's any information that's useful. And then you have some actionability after about the 6 or 7 second mark, and when that 8 to 10 second, when they decide, okay, is there something I'm going to click on, or am I going to bounce? So realistically, within 7 seconds or so, that consumer is going to know when they get to your site if they're going to stay or they're going to go. One of the things we want to do is when we design websites now and design your pages is you want to bring in some sort of consumer interaction or usability studies. Now in the past these were very expensive, they were time consuming, etc. Now with online surveys, consumer focus groups, it's a lot easier to use. I mean, one of the things we've done with organizations is everybody probably here has an email database. Very easy to set up a few samples of a site, send them separate links, and put together a Zoomerang survey or a SurveyMonkey survey, ask them a few quick questions about the design, and get some feedback. The more feedback you have from the consumer, the better your site's going to be for the future, and the more success you're going to have. And here's an example. About a year or two ago, we worked with the state of Arkansas. They had some design setups on their site, and they said, you know what, we like to evaluate our website and do a little website evaluation and see what we can do to improve their site. So this was the main page, and this is what we call above the fold. So when we click on the website, this is exactly what you see when it comes up. If you scrolled, here's what you saw. So all of this is on the main page. This is on the second half. We know that about 40% of the people do not scroll when they get to the page. So whatever you can do to keep all your information on that top above the fold, if you will, is very important. So the consumer won't scroll. So what we did is we kind of did the after here, where we kind of pulled everything together and try to build the best site we can in this specific area. And here's a couple key points we want to show you. One is the logo and the recognition of what exactly it is. One of the things you always have to do is say who you are and be as clear as possible in the best location possible on your site. One of the other things we like is a keyword search box. And why is this? Because the consumer is focused on searching and boxing and dropping in keywords. And kind of navigation is a little nebulous. We all get caught up in navigation. But what things to do and places to stay and outdoors may mean to me, they may mean different things to you. So one of the things we have found with consumers is if we go in and give them the opportunity to search, they seem to be much more happy to go in and search than go through the navigation, because again, they're conditioned to drop keywords in, hit search, and find some additional information. Calendar of events. One of the things we found, and whether you're a hotel or a resort or attraction, what else is happening around you and when people are there. We have found that if you're a hotel and you have additional information from attractions, you have calendar of events, etc. on your site, you're going to get more traffic or maybe additional stays, because the consumer is going to find out more about what's happening. Or you can link them back to the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Highlighting primary content like hot deals, listings, etc. Photos that are seasonal and they change out periodically that really represent your travel product are all very important. So a couple quick tips on the websites. Keep things fresh, change up your images. Don't rely on navigation, add a search box. Keep the traveler informed with any additional information, and really merchandise, because what they're looking at, especially in today's economy, they're looking for bottom line deals, specials, etc. We've done a lot of focus groups with consumers, and one of the things they always come back for, they say, tell me the packages, tell me the deals, tell me the specials. Does anybody do any type of marketing now where they'll send specials out in an email, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Excellent. Good. Okay, content development. Why is content development important? Well, the impact of content on travel is as crucial to the repeat website visitation. And this is because if you have good content on your website, the consumer is going to come back to view that content and look for additional information. It needs to be dynamic, searchable, and comprehensive, and well managed. So these are the things when you create content on your site, where you put the content is very important, and how you position that content on your site is also very important. It factors into the search engine optimization listings, which are extremely important. As we talked about search, how important it is as you go through the process. And it doesn't have to be developed by you. You can get content from anywhere, any place. If it pertains to your hotel, resort, or attraction, if you're a busy attraction, you have the opportunity maybe to bring some stuff in. If there's articles written about you online, you can always feed those into your website. You could share them, etc. It's all very important to have additional content on your website, because what it does is it keeps the site fresh and keeps the search engines interested. Now, here's just a real quick diagram of how a search engine works. What happens is there's little tiny spiders. So just visualize this for me real quick. Is you go home at night, you shut off your computer, close your eyes, shut out the lights, and when you do this, a bunch of spiders are released by Google. These little Google spiders go all the way through your website, and what they start to do is they crawl every website on the web. As they're crawling these websites, these little spiders collect information. So when they find a website, the first thing they do is they look at your title tag, and I'll show you how this is set up in a second. They read your title tag. They take the information from your title tag. They move from your title tag to a description tag, which is in the back end of your website. They read that, and then they come down and search through your images to see if there's any image descriptors. Then they come down into your content, and they record that. What they are looking for is a pattern in keyword-dense content. So content that is somewhat repetitive, and it's very descriptive. Then if they come down and they see some content and they see a link that may say water parks, and if you click on the water, and if you follow that water park link to a page all about water parks, they record that and they say, you know what, this site may have some value because this page takes you to another page, etc.